We spend a gratuitous amount of time examining what players do wrong. It's reasonable. Good NBA players do so many things well. Listing them all out would be beneficial to no one. When we discuss players, we are often trying to compare two or more against one another, and it's much faster to list the areas they are subpar rather than where they excel. It's practical and a time saver, but it distracts us from how good some players are. We devote so much time to these lapses in skill that we make the players their weaknesses instead of making them their strengths. It is players who belong to this distinction that I most want to discuss. I'm here to shine a light on players who I believe are misunderstood, giving you a complete look at what a player truly is, what they do right, what they do wrong, and everything in between. This week, that player is Hassan Whiteside. Whiteside is a divisive player. I described him once as much better than NBA experts suggest, and much worse than highlight-obsessed fans think. It's this schism that creates so much of the tension around the Snapchat emphatic player. Let's start with what he is great at: blocking shots. His lengthy arms and bouncy athleticism allows him to quite literally snatch basketballs out of midair, while helping him grab the most rebounds and fourth most blocks per game. In 2016, he was known for his complete disregard for basketball safety, as he attempted to spike balls into the fifth row. Last year, he was much better at keeping them in bounds, which means his blocks mattered more. Taking away a possession, instead of simply stopping one briefly, is much more important. He does have a tendency to go hunting for blocks, however, a risk that is mostly worth taking due to his unreal ability, but sometimes leads to easy baskets for the opposing team. On the offensive end, he isn't the perfect roll man. Finishing in the 83rd percentile, he often jauntingly comes off screens instead of diving towards the hoop, but he is still well above average. His most effective non-dunk may be his floater. Catching anywhere from 8 to 16 feet, he can teardrop a bucket with much more touch than he is given credit for. He can sometimes get out of control and lose technique when deciding to shoot a floater, but he is most accurate when leaning slightly right towards the hoop instead of staying perpendicular to the ground or fading slightly back. He is also much more effective when making quick decisions. He has a tendency to stand around or juke too many times after receiving the ball. This problem extends to his issue with passing. Once Whiteside has a basketball in his hands, he rarely gives it up. Only 4 players in NBA history have at least 5,000 minutes played and 100 or fewer assists: Joel Anthony, Steve Hunter, Jahidi White, and Hassan Whiteside. Larry Bird once nicknamed the great Kevin McHale Black Hole because of how often you would give him the ball and never see it again. It's ironic then that Hassan has a similar nickname, Dark Side. Hassan may never become a Nikola Jokic-esque passer, but he can still make quicker decisions. It's easy to forget that he's only started a total of 152 games, 93 fewer than the infantile Andrew Wiggins. He is absolutely deadly when quickly reacting. His length, touch, and speed make him close to unguardable near the basket. He needs to develop a few more post moves, as he saw the second most post touches in the NBA. He has a nice hook shot, but, like the floater, his mechanics can get out of whack. His spin move, when determined, is lethal. Later last season, he was also using his jump shot more and more, a tool that should only develop as time goes on, but is less than good at the moment. The problem with his jumper is that it comes more often in ISO post-ups rather than it does in the pick and pop or off a catch and shoot. If he started to use it more in these situations, it would create more space for the offense, and he would likely get some incredible looks. Being more decisive should come with playing more games, and his jumper actually stays consistent, although he brings it much too far past his head and releases on descent. It looks nearly the same every time. I have faith he can add sparingly into his game. Whiteside has many faults, the biggest of which may be his position is simply becoming more devalued every single day. But he has plenty of strengths. Know them both instead of making him just one.